What is up, YouTube? My name is Alex. Welcome back to the Lifting Nomads. I've been living in Buenos Aires, Argentina for the past month or so, and I've been lifting, exploring, traveling around, eating, drinking, meeting new people. And I wanted to share my experience as a solo traveler. I've been here by myself. I've obviously met a fair few amount of people, but I just want to share my experiences on like safety and what it's like to be a digital nomad living in Buenos Aires. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Look how sick this is. The messy grocery bag. Thank you to random local girl who gave me that as a gift. But yeah, I've been in Buenos Aires for the past month or so. I've done some pretty cool stuff. I tried out 4 different gyms. Ended up going with Meg Atlin, as you can see here. Sort of a pretty big chain gym. They have a few different ones across like the downtown of Buenos Aires. And interestingly, when you're looking at the population of this place, I made this mistake as well. There's like Buenos Aires as a province, and then Buenos Aires like the autonomous city or ciudad, and those are different places. So the population of Buenos Aires as the province is like 13 million, but then the city itself is like 3 million-ish. So it is a pretty big city, but it's actually really large, like layout of it. It's not as many like high rises and condensed as a lot of other major cities, especially like it's a lot of like low rise buildings and very like old world sort of European style, of course from like the Spanish influence, and they even speak like a pretty unique dialect of Spanish that was difficult for me to learn the first few weeks I was here. So I've been taking Spanish classes with a Colombian tutor, so for me it's a little bit different of the pronunciation. So for instance, like I don't know, like ella habla, like she talks. Instead of saying ella, like E-L-L-A, they say Aisha. So that's the same for like botella de agua or calle. For a street, it'd be calle. Or like para llevar for like to take out, it's para llevar. It's a little bit different to learn when I was just getting settled here. And at the beginning, I didn't really understand what the hell they were saying. But after being here for a few weeks, I can understand it. And I'm trying not to let it change how I speak Spanish, because most of the other countries where you're going to speak Spanish, it is just pronounced like the classic sort of way, where it's like the 2 L's is like a y sound. Anyways, so in Buenos Aires proper, I would say, staying here on solo travel and as a digital nomad has been really, really good. One of my favorite cities so far that I've been to in South America, or even in the world in general, I think. It is, here in like the peak of summer, so the time of month is like January, where it's their hottest month of the year. There's really been no rain. I think 2 days total there's been rain since I've been here, but very, very little. Sunny and hot with minimal clouds basically every single day. In Celsius, it's like 30 to 35 is a high, which is like 90-ish Fahrenheit for anyone from America. It's really, really hot, basically. And it's beautiful. The city itself has like tons of trees, and the architecture is incredible. And interestingly, with the trees, there's like some sort of building bylaw where when they're constructing their buildings, any building you build essentially has to have green space to compensate for it. So near the aeropuerto, there's like a downtown airport and then an international airport that's outside of the city. But in the downtown area, there's another airport that they have a bunch of high rises near it. And then right across the street from those high rises is like a ton of park space with no other buildings. And basically that's to compensate for, like, you build a high rise, you need a park. You build like a low rise, you need to put a tree. So there's like trees and greenery and parks everywhere in the city. And obviously Buenos Aires is like good air. It's very fresh here. Like you don't really smell, like a lot of Latin America and South America, you kind of have that smoggy, like gasoline car sort of smell all the time. And a lot of people like actually get headaches from the pollution. But here, I couldn't see this really ever being a problem. It's been very, very clean, very, very like refreshing to go outside. It's actually like a lot of fresh air every time I go outside, which is awesome. From the training perspective, obviously it's the Lifting Nomad, so I do want to talk about that. The gyms here are pretty good. I went to 4 different ones. I went to Sport Club, XXL, I believe it was called, Omnia, and then Meg Atlin, which I'm at now. And there's still like the classic sort of South American fuckery where people don't re-rack their weights. Guys don't really do legs at all. So like the squat racks are always empty. There's a lot of groups of like 5-6 guys at once, like spotting each other on like curls and shit, and it's kind of funny to see, and it's just like a different culture, honestly. Like in North America, if you don't react your weights, like in US or Canada, you're probably gonna get grilled. Like there's a good chance someone tells you like to put your weights back, or there's like signs all over the gym, or a staff member, or even like someone else in the gym. But like every time I come to South America, I notice that they just have like a different culture to gym, to being at the gym, to gym, I go gym. And from just like a equipment standpoint, really, really good. When I was in Colombia, they had like these barbells that would rotate, which is kind of a pain in the ass. And here they don't have that. They're just like standard barbells. So the gym's been good. Probably the challenge, I think, from a nutrition standpoint is there's not like an overly popular like fitness culture here. So a lot of the restaurants have basically French fries with everything. You're getting like steak or chicken with French fries. Or you order like a salad, it's gonna come with French fries. Or like I even did like this, Rappi is like their delivery, like their Uber Eats down here. I did like a bao restaurant and it came with chips, like fresh fried chips. I'm like, dude, I ordered baos like to be somewhat healthy. I don't want the chips, but every single bao you ordered came with an order of chips. So it's been a little more challenging to just like eat healthy. So I've had to go through Rappi and find like, I have like 4 or 5 staple restaurants at this point where I'm buying from every single day for dinner. I typically go out or eat delivery dinner every single night. Reason being, like part of the reason I travel is to try new food and explore new places. So I'm here, I might as well try the food that's a part of this culture and a part of this city. From a cost standpoint, like building from the nutrition, it's very, very, very cheap. Like I'm sure if you do some research on like the blue dollar, you'll find out that basically like the economy down here is very cash based around the US dollar. So essentially you can like get an exchange rate for the US dollar and get local peso currency. But it's a little fuckery because like an official rate is in like a bank, or if you go to an ATM or something, you'll only get like half of what you would if you just go to like these cambios or cash houses, or even like exchange places and actually give them your dollars, and then you get pesos in return as like an exchange. So it's a little bit of a unique process to actually get that figured out. But from a budgeting standpoint, it's extremely cheap. Like I think dollars wise, I'm probably spending like less than $20 a day on like total from food, drink, that's alcohol, eating out, groceries. Like it's very, very cheap here. So I think you could easily make it work on like $500 a month, or even less. Like I'm balling out pretty hard because I like to eat good things. I like to try new cocktails. I'm a bit more of a bougie traveler. So when I slow mat, I like to have some of the luxuries that other people won't necessarily want to have. So definitely very, very cheap on the budgeting side. On that same note from the budgeting, it's a little bit confusing to get SIM cards set up here. And it's, okay, not even a little bit. It is a hell of a lot confusing. It's a pain in the ass to get it sorted out. You basically have to like buy a SIM card and then you have to get it activated. So I'm using Claro, which is really popular in South America. Bought the SIM card, then you have to go to the mall and get it activated, but then you can't add data at the mall because for some reason they just don't let you, even at like the Claro official SIM card store. So then you have your SIM card activated, then you have to go to these like a kiosco, like a convenience store basically, that has a machine where you can put money onto your SIM card that is attached to your cell phone number. So basically you put the SIM card in your phone, you'll get a text that tells you this is your phone number while you're down here in Argentina. Then you have to go to a kiosco, put money onto that exact number. It's not your account, it's literally your phone number that they gave you. But then they don't take the biggest cash. So you actually have to get, like the biggest peso is 1,000, and because of the inflation, like everything is gonna be 1,000 usually or more. But these machines don't take 1,000. So you have to get change for the 1,000 down to 500s, and then you can only do 1,000 at a time. So you have to do like 3 or 4 different transactions to finally have enough cash on your phone number to add a plan. And then once that's done, then you have to go back home to and go online, and then create an account for your phone number, log in, and then use the cash that you just put on in a machine in a convenience store to then buy a data plan for it. So it is complicated, and now that I've got it figured out, it's a little easier, but holy, I'll be honest, that was a big pain in the ass that I was not expecting. Long story short, it's gonna take a little bit to get it figured out, and don't expect to just buy a loaded SIM card and be good to go like a lot of other countries. It definitely is a bigger pain in the ass than I had anticipated, that's for sure. Then I realized you could also go into like drugstores and actually just go to the cash register and say I need to put cash on my Claro SIM card, and then you can pay them, and then they enter it into their system, and you can only pay 2,000 max at a time, even though a cell phone plan costs like 4,000 pesos. So long story short, it's a pain in the ass, and that was probably one of the least enjoyable things about being down here was getting that sorted. But now that I've got it, it's fine. They have like 25 gig plans for like $10 for the month, and then you're not even limited to that. If I go over my usage, I can just buy more data. So it's not a huge deal, but definitely is a pretty big inconvenience. From a safety standpoint, I've been here a month, and I haven't had any real run-ins with places when I didn't feel safe. I have met people who did get robbed already and had cell phones stolen and that kind of thing, but most of the time in South America or Latin America, it's like a common theme is you're like drunk off your tits and you're just like really obviously flashing your money, and then it's like an opportunistic moment at like 3 a.m. For the most part, if you're not flashing like really obnoxious things, like don't wear a Rolex. Most of my wardrobe down here is pretty much black with no logos. That way I just like don't really stand out. I just like can blend in pretty easily as not a local, but maybe not like a rich tourist. And the other thing that's on that same note is like Argentinians tend to be a lot more like white looking versus like Latino influence. So they, like when I was in Colombia, I stood out very, very commonly. But down here, most people kind of look like me. So it's been really easy to just blend in and not really seem like a target. And obviously like speaking Spanish helps, and speaking their Spanish, so saying para llevar when you want to get a coffee to go definitely helps. But overall, I think is really, really safe in like Palermo, Belgrano. Recoleta starts to get a little bit sketchy at night apparently, but it's extremely expensive and bougie over there. But between Belgrano and Palermo is like probably a 2 or 3 hour walk of one neighborhood that's all very, very upscale and safe, and has a lot of affluence from locals, not just tourism. So you actually have like a lot of rich locals working good jobs, you know, driving nice cars, wearing clean clothes. So you don't really stand out amongst them if you're doing those things, right? So as long as you're not flashing cash, not being an asshole, it's going to be pretty fine to be safe here by yourself. And that goes for women as well. Like I've met a lot of girls, like I go to all these nomad meetups and like wine tastings and stuff. And I've met a lot of people and lots of girl travelers here solo. So I think right now Buenos Aires is probably one of the best places you can go. Very, very cheap. It's close to the East Coast hours, so it's only 2 hours ahead, which I think is ideal. I wake up at like 6:30 local, which is 4:30 Eastern. Gives me plenty of time to do a little bit of work, go to the gym, make a video, whatever I'm doing for that day, and still have like the whole day ahead of me. So I think for time zones, this has probably been my favorite so far of all the different time zones I've worked. But that is basically my review so far of being a digital nomad here in Buenos Aires. It's been amazing. I've loved my time here in the city. It's been beautiful. I'm here for another 2 weeks at this point, so hopefully make a couple more videos for you guys. But at this point, that's pretty much everything I want to share. Hopefully this was useful. If you're thinking about booking the trip down to Buenos Aires, highly recommend. It is awesome down here, and come visit. We'll grab a pint. But that is the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this was useful. If it was, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Otherwise, my name is Alex. Welcome back to Lifting Nomad. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.